YouTubers, welcome. King Alliance here, bringing you another video. Congratulations to Cameron. I just sent out your package. If you like the content, make sure to subscribe. You can click in one of these corners, you'll see a lion. It'll help you out, help me out. Why am I waiting around? Just get to it. In this video, I'm going to be going over the rear differential and front differential mounts and how to replace them, how to install them, and some of the troubles that I had along the way. I want to see if it's something that you should actually go out and buy right away, or if it's something that you can put off, or it's something you don't even need to buy. Ones that I was looking at were either all aluminum, and I think those were done by 034 Motorsports. The quality of them is absolutely amazing because they're completely aluminum. The reason why I went with the polyurethane is because it's a softer material than aluminum, so it's going to reduce the noise. I would expect that this install for all the mounts is going to take no more than an hour, with maybe about a half-hour prep time, just getting it on the jack stands and getting the tools together and everything like that. So some things that you definitely want to have going into this: you want to have an air can. When you're taking out the old mounts, you want to make sure that you have pressurized air to blow out all the dust and the dirt and the rocks and all that stuff out of where the mount's going to go. It's definitely going to help extend the life of the polyurethane mounts, and it'll also prevent any extra noise that you may get from having the random material in there. All right, so let's get outside, get these mounts installed. We got the rear set up on the ramps, and then I have the front differential mount. There's no polyurethane on here whatsoever. This is just an aluminum piece, but what it does is it'll go over top of the rubber mount that it's holding onto. Get this moving. You can see all the rust, salt, all that starting to loosen up and fall out. So when you're doing it, have safety glasses on. Alright, so the differential is supposed to be a very easy thing to just lift up and clean out. Does not seem that way at all. So when you're doing it, don't try to just lift it up with your hand. Don't try to use a jack stand and try to wedge it in there. No, use a jack. I have it mounted right down here. That was the only place that actually would lift it high enough. So don't even try any other place, just go there. Now we do need to get this piece on. All right, you can see how it's facing up. All right, so after you're able to get the front differential mount on the top and this bottom, then you have to lower the differential back down. That way you can screw the bolt back in to the differential. Bam, nice and slow. And that is all done. Beautiful. There should not be any resistance when you're doing this. If there's any resistance whatsoever, then the differential is not lined up, the bolt. And that's when you need to stop, line it up, and then continue the tightening process. Oh, it was supposed to be the easy one. We will see what I think about that. I know the rear ones, you don't have a lot of space to work with. I got the rear differential mount here. So I'm gonna take off the aluminum piece just so I don't get any grease on there. Just mark a halfway point on the grease. Don't go past that. That way you have enough to put on both of them. So here's the exhaust. Here's the sway. Right there is where the 18mm nut is, or the 18mm bolt. And there's one on the other side. Make sure you only do one at a time. You want the differential to stay in place. You don't want it to start to move around. But you can see where it's coming from. Once you get this loosened up, you're going to want to take the compressed air and blow out the front and the back of it. Make sure you get all the loose dust, just like we did on the front differential. So I don't have footage from the rest of the rear diff install for me to be able to get the footage of it while not losing my temper and just dealing with the being under the car for as long as I was, literally just trying to install these simple looking mounts, which they were not quite simple at all. This was a complete pain. Being under the car, like if you have a lift, it would make it a lot easier, but it's still just, it's a process. It's a small space. You don't have a lot of area to work with. You only have about 2 or 3 inches of space between the mount and then the insulation for the exhaust. This polyurethane, I thought it would actually make it easier because they were soft, more pliable, but because of that, it was harder to actually get them to go into the inserts for the rear diff. I literally needed about 1 millimeter space for the bolt to catch onto the teeth on the opposite side. and I couldn't get it. I mean, I did make sure that they were cleaned out so that there wasn't anything catching on them, but it was still just, it wouldn't just slide in easily. It wouldn't even slide in at all. I tried using a C-clamp to do it. That didn't work out too well, so I ended up having to just screw the bolt through the differential until I could compress the polyurethane mount enough to where then I could unscrew the bolt, get the nut on the other side, and then screw the bolt into the nut with the polyurethane actually on there. And thankfully I was able to tighten it down fully, and they are installed. Front and rear diff is done. It took me about 4 hours to do just the rear ones, and I've been driving around for about a week now with those on. And do I notice difference with the acceleration? Yeah, sure, I do. It's very minute though. It's not something that you're gonna just say, oh my gosh, that changed everything. It is so quick and responsive, and the car before that was not at all. But yeah, there's a slight difference there. If you ended up getting the aluminum ones instead of the polyurethane ones, if you like those a lot more, if they were an easier install, just let me know what you think. All right, everyone, thanks a lot for watching. This is King Lines.
Thank you, sir. And thank you for coming.
Peace.